Hello everyone and welcome to this video on editing in Nuke Studio. So in the previous video I actually imported some folders with some footage. So that's what I have here. I have 4 clips to do my edit. So what I want to do is show you how am I going to edit this sequence very quickly. So the first thing is, if you want to look at a clip before you put it on any sequence, you can double click it and it will load it onto the viewer, and straight away you can play it. It will cache, so you can press play, you can press backwards and stop it at any point. Or is this easier to use the hotkeys, which are J, K, L for playbacks. So if I press L, it plays forward. If I press J, it plays backwards. K will stop my playback. If you press it more than once, it goes to double the speed or 4 times the speed. The same for the backwards. Okay. So that is playing back a clip very, very quickly in your viewer. You can also use K to do kind of gestural moves on the viewer to move and do playback. So if you are at the bottom, you can just scroll on that clip. If you are at the top, you can roll. Or if you're in the middle, you can play it and play it faster or slower as you go further on any direction or go backwards. Okay? So that is JKL for playback and K for gestural moves on the viewer. Okay, cool. So now how do we start our sequence? So by default, we have a empty sequence in Nuke Studio. If you want, you can just drag any clip and drop it into a timeline, and that will create a new sequence with the same properties of that clip. So if I drop that, I'm going to now have a sequence with all the information of that. And if I actually check on my properties for that sequence, if I open here, I can see it's a 1920 by 1080 timeline at a 25 frame per second. Okay, and I'm starting at 1 hour for my edit. So let's actually close that. I'm not interested in that for now. So now I have my first clip starting there, and probably I wanted to run there. I don't want anything else. So I'm going to start inserting my other clips into my timeline. So I'm going to change my layout. At the moment, I'm on my finishing layout or workspace, and I'm going to swap it into my editorial one. I'm going to go editing. The reason why I do this is because this allows me to have a second viewer to do a source and record editing. So at the bottom, you can see I have my sequence together with the viewer I'm working on. But if I want the next clip, which let's add this one here, now I can load in a second viewer and make sure I know where I'm going to go and find what I'm going to insert into my timeline. So I'm going to go and insert something a little bit later. Let's actually use, again, my K key and roll a little bit. There you are. I'm just going to find that. I can use my arrows on my keyboard to go frame by frame. So I can find that point. There you are. That's when he lands. So I'm going to go a little bit earlier than that. Run there. And I'm going to use my I and O to put my in and out. So I can set my in here. And let's actually, again, let's scroll a little bit later, just until he kind of starts standing up, something around there. I'm going to put my out point there. That's the bit of the clip that I want. So I want to insert that into my timeline. I can do it in different ways. I can do right click and do edit, insert, or I can drag and drop it into what I wanted. I can also decide if I wanted it longer here. I can put in and outs on this side depending on what I'm looking for. So at the moment, I'm going to actually do an override. So I'm going to go insert, edit, and override, and that will overwrite that section that I had there. Because this now has gone a little bit longer than I wanted, I'm just going to go and erase that last bit. Let's take that out. And now I have done my override on that section. Now I want to insert after that. Let's actually insert the next bit. So now I have that second clip here. I'm going to go and find what I'm interested on. It's again using my scrolling. Here, there he goes. That's when he starts standing up. So let's do something about that. Use my in point, and I'm not sure how long do I want him there for. So let's say something about that, a little bit less when he's turning around. Let's say there, out, so O again, and I'm going to insert it at the end here. So to move between my cuts, I can use Alt and the arrow. So the same as I was doing before, just the arrows to move frame by frame, I can use Alt to move between my cuts. So Alt and the arrows, and now I'm at the end, and I'm going to insert that clip in here. So I can do Edit, and this time I'm going to go Insert, and I have inserted that at the end of my shot. And I can start seeing how that edit starts making a little bit more sense. And the final clip I'm going to insert is this one here. So let's find, I have a nice shot of him standing up and then walking around. So let's just take that kind of final bit when he starts walking. So I'm going to actually just put it in, and I want the whole clip all the way till the end. So I'm going to just insert that here at the end when he starts walking around there. Probably, so I'm going to put my in point there and just insert it. So again, press N, and that'll insert that clip. Actually, what I wanted was to overwrite, so I'm going to press M and overwrite that into my timeline. So there you are. That's my first edit on Nuke Studio. And we have covered how to use our viewer to do playback, and with our JKL hotkeys or using gestural moves on it. We have also have a look at the editorial workspace to be able to use it for 3-point editing, either by using insert or override. Now in part 2 of this video, I'll be showing you all the editorial tools like slip clip, slide clip, races, and retimes. I'll see you then.